7 marine electronics brands you should stop buying, and 3 that are worth every penny. 4 of the names on that wall answer to one company, and that company started out in 1845 making billiard tables. Here's what I found. Let us start the countdown. Number 7. Simrad. The name on the offshore boats, the one that signals you are serious about electronics. Simrad Yachting was bought by a Swedish investment firm called Altor in 2005. The year after that, Altor bought Lowrance too, and merged the two into a company called Navico. 2 competing brands, one owner, from 2006 onward. They have been in the same house ever since, and they have never gone back to competing on price. And the sailing brand next to it moved in at the same address. Number 6, B&G. Sailing instruments with a serious racing heritage, priced accordingly. B&G sits inside that same Navico group. So when you compare a B&G masthead unit against a Simrad one, you are not comparing 2 companies. You are comparing 2 catalog positions from one product manager. The charts on the screen come from the same place. Number 5, C-Map. The chart brand a lot of anglers pick specifically because they do not want to be locked into their unit maker. C-Map is Navico as well. Same group as Lowrance, same group as Simrad, same group as B&G. That is 4 names on the shelf and 1 owner, and we are not even at the reveal yet. Hold that, because there is something inside your unit that matters more than any of these badges. Quick pause, because this is the single most useful thing in the video. There is a company called Airmar, and it is the largest maker of ultrasonic transducers in the world. Airmar builds the standard sonar transducers that ship inside Garmin, Lowrance, Humminbird and Simrad units straight from the factory. And you do not have to take my word for it, because Airmar sells the proof. They list what they call mix and match cables. The same transducer with a Garmin 8-pin plug, a Humminbird 14-pin plug, or a Navico 9-pin plug for Lowrance and Simrad. About $135 each. The part that finds the fish is the same part. The plug on the end is what makes it a Garmin or a Humminbird. One honest exception, and it matters. Forward-facing sonar is not Airmar. Live Scope, Mega Live, and Active Target are each proprietary, and that is exactly where the price has gone. The transducer alone runs somewhere north of $1,000, and a complete system, once you add the black box and a screen that can run it, lands closer to $1,700. Now back to the wall, because 2 more owners are hiding on it. Number 4, Raymarine. Founded in Britain with more than 80 years of marine navigation behind the name. So here is what happened. In 2010, Raymarine was sold to Fleur, the thermal camera company, for about $180 million. 11 years later, in May 2021, Teledyne bought all of Vexilar for $8 billion. Teledyne is not a boating company. They make defense electronics, aerospace instrumentation, and subsea systems. Your chart plotter is now a line item inside a defense contractor, and they are still buying. Teledyne picked up the charting company Chartworld in 2023 and the marine network firm Maritron in 2025, which their own press release called their 11th corporate carve-out. The next one at least stayed in the outdoors business. Number 3, Humminbird, side imaging, mega imaging, the brand a lot of freshwater anglers swear by. Humminbird belongs to Johnson Outdoors, which is a genuine outdoor company rather than a fund, and I will say plainly that this is the least alarming ownership on this list. Their own filings show they also picked up the chart brands Geonav and Navicontrol. The point here is not that Johnson Outdoors is bad. It is that Humminbird has not been an independent electronics company for a long time, and the marketing still sells you a scrappy specialist. And the one you might least expect is owned by the brand I'm about to recommend. Number 2, Navionics, the chart card people buy to escape their unit maker's own charts. Navionics belongs to Garmin, which is why so many Garmin units now come with Navionics preloaded, and why the 2 product lines never seem to undercut each other. I am going to recommend Garmin later in this video, and I am telling you this anyway, because you should know it before you decide the chart card is an independent second opinion. It is not. It is the same company selling you the same water twice, which brings us to the name that ties 4 of these together. And number 1, Lowrance. Probably the first fish finder a lot of you ever owned. Here is the full chain, and it is worth following. Altor bought Lowrance in 2006 and merged it with Simrad into Navico. In 2007, Navico bought Brunswick's own marine electronics division. In 2016, Goldman Sachs Merchant Banking and a fund called Altor Fund 4 bought the whole thing. And in October 2021, Brunswick completed the purchase of Navico for $1.05 billion. Read that again. Brunswick sold its electronics business in 2007 and bought it back 14 years and 2 private equity funds later for $1 billion. And Brunswick is not small. Mercury Marine, Bayliner, Boston Whaler, Sea Ray, Lund, Motor Guide, Freedom Boat Club, more than 60 brands. A company that started in 1845 making billiard tables now owns your fish finder, your outboard, your trolling motor, and quite possibly your boat. So the wall is 4 owners. Brunswick holds Lowrance, Simrad, B&G, and CMAP. Teledyne holds Raymarine. Johnson Outdoors holds Humminbird. Garmin holds Garmin and Navionics. And underneath almost all of it sits one transducer company. That is the part worth remembering. The screens compete on software and marketing. The part in the water largely does not compete at all. And here is what tells you how far this has gone. Forward-facing sonar has now been restricted by the sport itself. For 2026, BASS limited it to 5 of 9 tournaments, decided by a coin flip at each event. The NPFL banned it outright for 2025. When competitive fishing starts writing rules against a piece of equipment, that is not a marketing problem anymore. Here is the check you can run tonight, and it takes about 2 minutes. Find the model number on your transducer, usually molded into the housing or printed on the cable tag. Then search that number against Airmar's own product catalog. If it comes back, you are running an Airmar, whatever badge is on your display. And if you ever need to replace it, you now know you can buy the transducer and the correct plug separately instead of buying whatever your dealer hands you. The second check is the one I use for ownership. Open the brand's own site, scroll to the footer, and find the legal entity. On a large group, it is almost always named there because a company that size has to name itself in its own terms. So who is actually worth your money? 3, and the first one is not a brand you will find on the front of a display. 1. Airmar itself. If your transducer fails, or if you are upgrading a unit and keeping the boat, you can buy the Airmar transducer and the matching cable through major marine electronics dealers rather than paying display brand prices for the same hardware. This is the single most practical thing in this video. The part that does the work is available to you without the badge. Number 2, Garmin. And I want to be precise about why, because independent is a word that gets thrown around too easily. Garmin was started in 1989 by 2 engineers, Gary Burrell and Min Kao, who put in about $4 million of their own money and took no venture capital. The name is their 2 first names joined together. It went public in 2000, and Min Kao is still executive chairman today. So it is not private equity owned, and it has no parent company. It is publicly traded with institutional shareholders, and it is registered in Switzerland for tax, while the actual headquarters sits in Olathe, Kansas. That is a real thing to know, but it has never been bought, stripped, and flipped, and that shows in the products. 3. Vexilar, still the flasher. A lot of ice anglers will not give up, and as far as the records show, still independent and still American. So the next time somebody tells you a fish finder is worth $3,000, ask which part of it they mean. The screen or the thing in the water that has the same part number as the $800 unit. Tell me in the comments what is on your console right now, and I will pull the records on it. That is how the last 2 videos got their brands.